Today for devotions, I'm actually going to combine it with our Bible lesson. We are going to be starting to talk more about Joseph. And you have to remember who Joseph was. You know, he was the son of Jacob and Rachel. Jacob, whose name turned to be Israel, and Rachel, who was his favorite wife. And Joseph was one of the 12 sons that Jacob had. Remember, we talked about, he had a lot of children. It was 4 wives. Let's learn more about their dynamic as a family. And before I start, I think all of you have either a brother or a sister. You do. And I know sometimes it's hard to get along with brothers or sisters, but at least it's not as bad as what Joseph dealt with. Well, we'll talk more about that when we get back. But I'm going to read this story. It's probably going to sound familiar, but for right now, just enjoy it. And after I read, I'll pray and you can continue your day. I'll read the story now. Joseph the boy. Trouble at home, and this comes from Genesis 37. So if you're curious and you have a Bible at home, you could look at this story after I read it. This is from the Children's Bible. So if you have a regular Bible, I'll remind it right now, but you can look it up in your own Bible at home. Genesis 31 through, I guess this part is 37, but trouble at home. Jacob and his family were safely back in Canaan, but the jealousy and the quarrels, arguments, between his wives and their children went on. Jacob was glad that he had a large family. All fathers wanted sons to help them in those days. The more children you had, the more help you had at home. And we know that Jacob had a lot of sheep and goats and camels. And he had a lot of servants. So he had a lot of things to take care of. But as we know, Rachel really was the only wife that he loved. And he was very sad when she died during the birth of her second son, Jacob. No, not Jacob, Benjamin. Rachel passed away. Little Benjamin was the last child in Jacob's large family. Because of his love for Rachel, Jacob treated Joseph, Rachel's older son, so it was Joseph and Benjamin. He had a lot of other brothers. But he treated Joseph as his firstborn son, really. And this made all the other older brothers really upset. Because back in that time, if you were the firstborn son, you were going to get most of the wealth from your father after he passed away. The oldest son was going to get the blessing from the father. So Joseph is really not the oldest son, but his dad is treating him like the older son. And this made his older brothers very angry. Jacob gave Joseph a special coat with long sleeves, the kind of coat that the eldest son in a family would receive. And because Jacob loved Joseph so much, the other sons despised him. They would go off and look after the flocks that their father had told them, and then they would grumble and mutter and complain. Can you believe Joseph? Can you even believe that he said that? Can you believe that dad gave him a special coat? That's supposed to be for us, for the older sons. Jacob, one time, sent Joseph to help his brothers look after their sheep. Joseph was shocked by some of the things he saw his older brothers doing, and he went home and told his father all about it. But that made matters worse. The brothers despised Joseph so much that they wouldn't even talk to him. They were so mad. They thought he tattled on them. He may have tattled, but they also weren't following the directions from their dad. A tricky situation. And when Joseph tried to speak to them, they paid no attention and they just laughed and joked amongst themselves. No one in that home was happy at all. Here's a picture of Jacob giving Joseph a coat. Also called it the coat of many colors. In Genesis 37, this is called dreams. One night, Joseph dreamed a very strange dream. Listen to my dream, brothers. We were all out in the field harvesting, and we were tying up sheaves of corn. And sheaves are just like a bunch of something. So it could be a sheaf of wheat, it could be a sheaf of corn. Suddenly, the sheaf that I was tying stood straight up. And then all of your sheaves that you were tying all were in a circle around mine. And then they bowed down to my sheaf. If Joseph thought that his brothers would be pleased or interested in this dream, he was very mistaken. Who do you think you are? They asked angrily. Do you think we're all going to bow down and grovel at your feet? Boy. Not long after that, Joseph had another strange dream. And this time he told his father about it. Dad, I dreamed that the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky were all bowing down to me. He had counted 11 stars. Joseph had 11 brothers. Oh, pretty soon, his brothers and his dad guessed the meaning of that dream. The brother said, "Oh, high and mighty Joseph thinks that we're all going to treat him like the boss." Even his dad, Jacob, was a little upset. Jacob interpreted this dream like the sun and the moon are kind of like him as the dad and his wife. Oh. And then the dad asked, "Do you really think that you are going to be more important than your parents?" But although he scolded Joseph, Jacob kept thinking about this dream. Could it be God's way of telling him that God had chosen Joseph to be someone very special in the family? You may know what happens next. Into the pit. One day, Jacob came looking for Joseph. He wanted to send him on a special errand. That was a spelling word a couple of weeks ago. Errand is like a task to go complete. "Your brothers have been away for a very long time with the sheep," he said. "I'm anxious about them. Go and look for them. Make sure they're safe." Because back then, if you had sheep, you had to travel around and you had to go find a spot where there was enough grass, and then the sheep would eat all the grass in that area, and then you'd have to move to a different spot. So I guess Jacob was a little worried that he hadn't seen his sons in a bit. So Joseph set off in the direction where his brothers had gone. He asked for news of them as he went. He saw people traveling on the road. "Have you seen a bunch of guys with a bunch of sheep?" Finally, he did track them down. And when he was still in the distance, his brothers saw who was coming. They recognized him right away because of the special coat he was wearing. "Look," they called out to each other. "Here comes that dreamer. We've got him on his own now," said another. "Why don't we just kill him while we have the chance?" then we'll see what becomes of his wonderful dreams. So Reuben, the oldest brother, tried to stop them. No, we should not kill him, he said. Let's just throw him down this dried up well. The well, you had to dig down deep to get water, but this well was all dried up. That will just teach him a lesson. Joseph was close now, and there was no more time to talk about plans. Joseph came running towards them eagerly. He was not suspicious, and he had no idea what was about to come to him. Two of the biggest brothers seized him, and another brother tore off his fine coat. And then, as Reuben had suggested, they threw him into the deep pit. There would be no climbing up the steep, slippery sides to escape. A little breathless, but very satisfied, the brothers sat down, enjoyed their meal, and they paid no attention to Joseph's desperate cries for help. We're gonna keep reading this story next time. Thank you.